Bloodhound Lil Jeff got shot and killed. He got shot 12 times, and you actually talked about this.
19.
When Lil Jeff chased a rival gang member on the streets in a heated gunfight, he never would have imagined that it would lead to his death. He was clearly taking the lead in the firefight, but didn't know there was a wild card on the table. Weeks after his untimely death, some of Lil Jeff's affiliates have revealed some unsettling truths about his life. These secrets may shift the fabric of gang affiliation in Chicago and change public perception about the young rapper. It all starts with how many bodies Lil Jeff dropped when he was alive. Lil Jeff's death toll revealed. Since Lil Jeff lost his life during a drill, information about his lifestyle has been trending on social media. However, the most shocking thing we've heard so far,
he allegedly killed more people.
How many people did he allegedly kill?
He claims 11.
is that the young rapper committed more than 11 murders before a rival gang member caught up with him. This news came from a source close to Lil Jeff and his crew. While details about these hits haven't been revealed yet, it called to mind the death of 2 other Chicago rappers who Lil Jeff took credit for killing just months before his death. The allegations surrounding Lil Jeff's involvement in the killings of Monty and Lil Rob marked a significant turning point in his life, further cementing his infamy both on the streets and in the public eye. These attacks were not just isolated acts of violence, but rather pivotal events that highlighted the brutal reality of gang life in Chicago. Monty and Lil Rob, both members of rival gangs, were gunned down in a manner that bore the hallmarks of a targeted hit. The brazen nature of these killings attracted the attention from law enforcement and media alike. Lil Jeff quickly became a person of interest in these cases, with many pointing to his lyrics and music videos as potential confessions of his involvement. In his song Ah, Lil Jeff allegedly alluded to these murders, weaving details of the crimes into his verses. The chilling accuracy of his descriptions led many to believe that he was not only involved, but also boasting about his actions through his music. This perception was further fueled by a video featuring him and his gang members in the same outfits and vehicle linked to the crime scenes, blurring the lines between artistic expression and real-life events. Despite the mounting evidence and public speculation, someone else was eventually charged with the murders months after the incidents. However, the shadow of these allegations continued to loom over Lil Jeff, adding to his notorious reputation. Also, taking credit for the murders may have initiated a chain reaction that eventually led to Lil Jeff's death. The events leading up to Lil Jeff's untimely death unfolded with the intensity and chaos that had come to define his life. On that fateful day, tensions between rival gangs reached a boiling point, setting the stage for a violent confrontation that would ultimately claim his life. It began with a chance encounter between Lil Jeff and a member of an opposition gang. What started as a verbal altercation quickly escalated into a high-stakes chase through the streets of Chicago. Both men, armed and determined, exchanged gunfire as they ran through the urban landscape, their actions endangering not only themselves, but also innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire. The pursuit reached a critical juncture when the opposition gang member, desperate to escape, fled to his home. Lil Jeff, relentless in his pursuit, followed closely behind, unaware of the deadly trap that awaited him. As he approached the house, another individual emerged, armed and ready to defend their territory. In a matter of moments, the situation spiraled out of control. Gunfire erupted once more, and amidst the chaos, Lil Jeff was struck in the chest. The bullet proved fatal, and he collapsed on the spot, his life extinguished in an instant. The aftermath of Lil Jeff's death left a profound impact on his gang, rival factions, and the broader community. His passing marked the end of a turbulent chapter, yet it also ignited a series of reactions that reflected the deep-seated tensions within the city's gang landscape. Within his own gang, Lil Jeff's death was met with a mixture of grief and anger. He had been a prominent figure, both feared and respected, and his loss left a significant void. For many of his fellow gang members, his death became a rallying cry, fueling a desire for retribution and further entrenching them in the cycle of violence. The gang's leadership vowed to avenge their fallen comrade, escalating the already volatile situation on the streets. Rival gangs, on the other hand, viewed Lil Jeff's demise as both a victory and a warning. While some saw it as an opportunity to assert their dominance, others recognized the potential for further bloodshed and sought to fortify their defenses against inevitable retaliation. Community at large reacted with a mix of fear, frustration, and resignation. For residents of Chicago's most affected neighborhoods, Lil Jeff's death was yet another tragic example of the senseless violence that had become all too common. Many called for peace and an end to the gang wars that continued to claim young lives, while others remained skeptical of any lasting change. In the wake of Lil Jeff's death, law enforcement intensified their efforts to curb gang activity, launching investigations and increasing patrols in an attempt to prevent further violence. However, the deeply rooted nature of the conflicts made it clear that a long-term solution would require more than just policing. Another primary area area of law enforcement scrutiny was Lil Jeff's music and videos, which were examined for potential evidence of criminal activity. His lyrics, often filled with vivid depictions of street life and references to real-life incidents, became a focal point for investigators seeking to establish connections between his artistic expressions and actual crimes. Music videos, too, were dissected for clues, with authorities paying close attention to the imagery and symbolism used by Lil Jeff and his associates. The presence of weapons, gang signs, and specific locations in these videos provided valuable insights into the operations and affiliations of his gang. This scrutiny extended to social media, where posts and interactions were monitored for evidence of gang-related activities and communications. The legal implications of using music and videos as evidence sparked debates about artistic freedom and the boundaries of self-expression. While some argued that lyrics and visuals were merely forms of creative storytelling, others contended that they could serve as confessions or incitements to violence. This tension highlighted the challenges faced by law enforcement in balancing the need for evidence with respect for artistic rights. In today's digital age, social media plays a pivotal role in shaping perceptions and influencing behaviors, particularly among the youth. For individuals like Lil Jeff, platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube became powerful tools for self-promotion and expression. However, they also served as conduits for glorifying the gang lifestyle, with far-reaching implications for impressionable young audiences. Lil Jeff's online presence was marked by a carefully curated image that showcased his involvement in the gang world. Through posts and videos, he depicted a life of excitement, power, and notoriety, often highlighting his music, gang affiliations, and confrontations with rivals. The allure of this lifestyle, as presented on social media, often overshadowed the harsh realities of gang involvement. For many youths, the perceived glamour and respect associated with being part of a gang were enticing, leading them to emulate figures like Lil Jeff. His online persona, characterized by bravado and fearlessness, became a template for those seeking to escape their circumstances and gain recognition. However, the glorification of gang culture on social media also contributed to the perpetuation of violence and rivalry. Online exchanges between rival gang members often escalated into real-world confrontations, with platforms serving as virtual battlegrounds for taunts and threats. Lil Jeff's interactions online were no exception, as his posts sometimes provoked responses from adversaries, further fueling the cycle of conflict. Lil Jeff was only 21 when he was engaged in the drill that cost his life. How did such a vibrant young man full of life get involved in violence and crime in Chirac? Lil Jeff and the Gangster Disciple Nation. Before his death, Lil Jeff was affiliated with the Gangster Disciple Nation, a formidable force in Chicago's gang landscape. The group traces its origins back to the late 1950s. It was founded by two influential figures, Larry Hoover Sr. and David Barksdale, who sought to consolidate power and influence in the city's burgeoning gang scene. The Gangster Disciples emerged as a dominant entity, characterized by their distinctive colors of blue, black, gray, and white, which became synonymous with their identity. The gang's formation was a response to the socio-economic challenges faced by many African-American communities in Chicago. As the city grappled with issues of poverty, segregation, and limited opportunities, the Gangster Disciple Nation offered a sense of belonging and protection to its members. Over the decades, the gang expanded its reach, becoming a significant player in the city's criminal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, and violent confrontations with rival gangs. The Gangster Disciple Nation's influence extended beyond Chicago, as it established a network of affiliates across the United States. This expansion solidified its reputation as one of the most powerful and organized gangs in the country. Despite numerous law enforcement efforts to dismantle the gang, its presence remains deeply entrenched in Chicago's neighborhoods, contributing to the city's ongoing struggles with gang violence. Understanding the historical background of the Gangster Disciple Nation is crucial to comprehending the environment in which Lil Jeff found himself. The gang's legacy of power and violence set the stage for his involvement and eventual downfall as he navigated the treacherous waters of gang life in Chicago. In the heart of Chicago, a city often referred to as Chirac due to its notorious crime rates, the story of Lil Jeff and the Gangster Disciple Nation unfolds. Lil Jeff's journey into this perilous lifestyle reveals a chilling narrative of power, respect, and the ultimate price of gang affiliation. Lil Jeff, born and raised in the challenging neighborhoods of Chicago, was a product of his environment. From a young age, he was exposed to the harsh realities of life in a city plagued by violence and economic hardship. Growing up in a community where gang culture was prevalent, Lil Jeff's Jeff's path seemed almost predetermined. His family struggled to make ends meet, and the allure of the streets offered a sense of belonging and opportunity that was hard to resist. As a teenager, Lil Jeff was drawn to the Gangster Disciple Nation, a gang that promised power, respect, and a way out of poverty. The gang's influence was pervasive in his neighborhood, and many of his peers were already involved. For Lil Jeff, joining the Gangster Disciple Nation was not just a choice, but a means of survival. The gang provided him with a sense of identity and purpose, filling the void left by a lack of positive role models and opportunities. Lil Jeff's charisma and determination quickly caught the attention of the gang's leaders. He was eager to prove himself and earn his place within the ranks. His involvement with the Gangster Disciple Nation deepened as he participated in various gang activities, from petty crimes to more serious offenses. The gang became his family, offering him protection and a sense of belonging that he had never experienced before. Despite the dangers and risks associated with gang life, Lil Jeff embraced his new identity with fervor. He was determined to rise through the ranks and make a name for himself within the Gangster Disciple Nation. One way he expressed his love for the thug life was through his drill music. The genre's aggressive beats and gritty lyrics mirrored his own experiences and provided an outlet for his emotions and frustrations. As a member of the Gangster Disciple Nation, Lil Jeff's involvement in drill music was both a form of expression and a means of solidifying his reputation within the gang. His music captured the attention of his peers and quickly gained traction on social media platforms, where drill artists often shared their work. Lil Jeff's tracks were unapologetically honest, detailing the violence and struggles he faced daily. His lyrics often referenced real-life events and rivalries, blurring the lines between art and reality. This authenticity resonated with listeners, earning him a loyal following and establishing him as a rising star in the drill scene. Through his music, Lil Jeff not only chronicled his own life, but also shed light on the broader issues affecting his community. As his popularity grew, so did his influence, making him a prominent figure in both the drill music scene and the Gangster Disciple Nation. Lil Jeff's involvement in drill music was a double-edged sword, providing him with a platform to share his story while simultaneously entangling him further into the dangerous world of gang life. Gang rivalries in Chicago are notorious for their intensity and violence, and for Lil Jeff, these conflicts were an inescapable part of life. As a member of the Gangster Disciple Nation, he was thrust into a world where allegiances were paramount and rivalries could mean the difference between life and death. These tensions were not only a backdrop to his daily life, but also a driving force in his music. Lil Jeff's lyrics often reflected the ongoing feuds between the Gangster Disciple Nation and opposing gangs. His songs served as both a personal diary and a public declaration of loyalty, detailing the animosities and skirmishes that defined his environment. The impact of these rivalries on Lil Jeff's life was profound. He lived in a constant state of vigilance, aware that his words could have serious repercussions. The pressure to maintain his reputation and protect his standing within the Gangster Disciple Nation weighed heavily on him, influencing his decisions and actions. Unfortunately, his death and the death of other young people of color in Chicago hasn't served as a deterrent against gang violence. Hundreds of young men are jumped into gangs yearly in Chicago, and it isn't slowing down anytime soon. In response to the pervasive issue of gang violence in Chicago, numerous community initiatives and interventions have been established to support at-risk youth and provide alternatives to gang involvement. These programs aim to address the root causes of violence and offer young people the resources and opportunities needed to build a brighter future. One such initiative is the implementation of mentorship programs that connect at-risk youth with positive role models. These programs focus on building trust and providing guidance, helping young individuals navigate the challenges they face and encouraging them to pursue education and employment opportunities. By fostering supportive relationships, mentorship programs aim to instill a sense of hope and possibility, steering youth away from the allure of gang life. Educational interventions also play a crucial role in reducing gang violence. Organizations work to improve access to quality education, offering tutoring, after-school programs, and scholarships to help students succeed academically. Job training and employment programs provide another avenue for supporting at-risk youth. By offering vocational training and job placement services, these programs aim to equip young individuals with the tools needed to secure stable employment. Gainful employment not only provides financial stability, but also instills a sense of purpose and self-worth, reducing the likelihood of gang involvement. Community centers and safe spaces offer refuge for young people, providing a supportive environment where they can engage in positive activities and build meaningful connections. These centers often host recreational programs, workshops, and events that promote personal development and community engagement, fostering a sense of belonging and resilience. Collaborative efforts between law enforcement, community organizations, and local leaders are also essential in addressing gang violence. By working together, these stakeholders can develop comprehensive strategies that focus on prevention, intervention, and rehabilitation, creating a safer and more supportive environment for Chicago's youth. But a lot of work still needs to be done to change the psychological mindset mindset of at-risk youth. The psychological impact of gang life on individuals like Lil Jeff is profound, affecting not only their mental health, but also their overall well-being. The constant exposure to violence, the pressure to conform to gang norms, and the ever-present threat of danger create a highly stressful environment that takes a significant toll on mental health. For individuals involved in gangs, the need to maintain a tough exterior and suppress emotions can lead to internalized stress and anxiety. The fear of violence and the loss of friends and family members to gang-related incidents contribute to a pervasive sense of trauma. This trauma often goes unaddressed, as the stigma surrounding mental health issues and the lack of access to mental health services in these communities create barriers to seeking help. The psychological effects of gang life extend beyond the individual, impacting families and communities as well. The normalization of violence and the cycle of retaliation perpetuate a culture of fear and mistrust, affecting the mental health of those living in gang-affected areas. Children growing up in these environments are particularly vulnerable, as they are exposed to trauma from a young age, which can have lasting effects on their development and mental health. Lil Jeff grew up in such an environment, and he isn't the only Chicago rapper who has paid the price with his life recently. Tragic deaths of Lil Jeff's affiliate. The tragic deaths of Lil Jeff and his affiliates, King Von, FBG Duck, and Lil Jojo, reveal a chilling narrative that intertwines music and street life. These young artists, brimming with talent and potential, met untimely ends. King Von, born Davon Bennett, was known for his vivid storytelling and raw, unfiltered lyrics. He was a rising star whose life was tragically cut short in a manner that mirrored the violent narratives he often rapped about. His death on November 6, 2020 in Atlanta, Georgia, left a void in the hearts of his fans and loved ones. King Von's journey began in the tumultuous streets of Chicago, where he was born on August 9, 1994. Growing up in the Parkway Gardens housing project, also known as O Block, he was no stranger to the harsh realities of street life. These experiences heavily influenced his music, which resonated with many who shared similar backgrounds. His storytelling prowess set him apart, painting vivid pictures of life in Chicago's South Side, a place where dreams and danger often collide. Von's rise to fame was meteoric. He was discovered by fellow Chicago rapper Lil Durk, who signed him to his record label, Only the Family. With hits like Crazy Story and Took Her to the O, King Von quickly gained a loyal following. His music videos amassed millions of views, and his charismatic presence captivated audiences. However, beneath the surface of his burgeoning career lay the ever-present threat of violence, a reality that would ultimately claim his life. On that fateful night in November 2020, King Von was involved in a violent altercation outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. The confrontation, reportedly between two groups, escalated into a shootout, leaving King Von and two others dead. The incident was captured on surveillance footage, showing the chaos and confusion that erupted in the moments leading up to the gunfire. The news of his death spread rapidly, leaving fans and fellow artists in disbelief. In the wake of his death, tributes poured in from across the music industry. Artists like Chance the Rapper, Meek Mill, and Lil Durk expressed their grief and paid homage to Von's talent and potential. His music continued to resonate with fans, reflecting his storytelling ability and the authenticity that endeared him to so many. Unfortunately, this wasn't the first or the last case of senseless violence due to gang affiliation. The death of FBG Duck, born Carlton Weekly, is a sad tale. Known for his distinctive voice and fearless approach to addressing street politics in his lyrics, FBG Duck was a prominent figure whose life abruptly ended in a violent act that shocked the city and the music community at large. FBG Duck was born on December 6, 1993, and raised in the south side of Chicago, an area notorious for its high crime rates and gang activity. Growing up in such an environment, Duck was no stranger to the challenges and dangers that came with it. These experiences heavily influenced his music, which often depicted the harsh realities of life on the streets. His ability to articulate these experiences resonated with many, earning him a dedicated fan base and a respected place in the drill music scene. Duck's rise to prominence was marked by his hit single Slide, which became an anthem for many and showcased his raw talent and lyrical prowess. The song's success pushed him into the spotlight, and he quickly became a voice for those who felt marginalized and unheard. Despite his growing fame, Duck remained deeply connected to his roots, often using his platform to speak out against violence and advocate for peace in his community. However, the very violence he sought to escape and address through his music would ultimately claim his life. On August 4th, 2020, FBG Duck was gunned down in broad daylight in Chicago's upscale Gold Coast neighborhood. The attack, which took place on Oak Street, a bustling shopping district, was brazen and shocking, leaving Duck and two others injured. Despite being rushed to the hospital, Duck succumbed to his injuries, leaving a void in the hearts of his family, friends, and fans. Duck's death was not just a loss to the music world, but also a devastating blow to his community, which had looked to him as a beacon of hope and change. In the aftermath of his death, tributes poured in from fans and fellow artists who mourned the loss of a talented and influential figure. Many took to social media to express their grief and pay homage to Duck's legacy, highlighting his impact on the drill scene and the broader music community. His death was just as sad as the death of Lil Jojo, who was still a teenager when he was killed. The unfortunate death of Lil Jojo, born Joseph Coleman, marks one of the earliest and most poignant losses in the Chicago drill music scene. His untimely demise at the tender age of 18 reflected the volatile mix of music, street life, and gang rivalries that have come to define the genre. Lil Jojo was born on April 6, 1994, and grew up in the Englewood neighborhood of Chicago, an area plagued by poverty and crime. Despite the challenges of his environment, Jojo found solace and expression through music. He emerged as a promising rapper with a raw and unfiltered style that resonated with many who shared similar experiences. His music often addressed the realities of street life, reflecting the struggles and aspirations of his community. Jojo's rise to prominence was marked by his fearless approach to addressing gang rivalries in his lyrics. He gained significant attention with his track, BDK 300, a direct diss aimed at the Black Disciples gang and rival rapper Chief Keef. The song quickly went viral, catapulting Jojo into the spotlight and intensifying the existing tensions between rival factions. While his boldness earned him a loyal following, it also made him a target in the ongoing gang conflicts that plagued Chicago. On September 4, 2012, Lil Jojo's life was tragically cut short. While riding his bicycle in the Englewood neighborhood, he was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting. He was killed during a feud between his gang and a rival gang. A diss track threatening retaliation for his death was released, further escalating the violence. Jojo's death was not just a loss to his family and fans, but also a grim reminder of the dangers faced by young artists navigating the treacherous waters of fame and street life. The tragic deaths of Lil Jeff, King Von, FBG Duck, and Lil Jojo have cast a long shadow over the Chicago drill music scene, highlighting the complex interplay between music, street life, and violence. These young artists, each with their unique voice and perspective, were more than just musicians. They were storytellers who gave a voice to their communities. Their untimely deaths have had a profound impact on the drill scene, prompting a reevaluation of the culture and the urgent need for change. In the wake of these tragedies, there has been a growing call for change within the drill scene. Artists, community leaders, and activists are advocating for a shift in the narrative, urging musicians to use their platforms to promote peace and positive change. Some artists have taken it upon themselves to address these issues in their music, using their lyrics to call for an end to violence and to inspire hope and resilience in their communities. The broader impact of these tragic deaths also extends to the perception of drill music in the public eye. While the genre has been criticized for its association with violence, it is important to recognize the socioeconomic factors that contribute to the environment from which it emerges. Poverty, lack of opportunity, and systemic inequality are underlying issues that fuel the cycle of violence, and addressing these root causes is essential to effecting meaningful change. Despite the challenges, the Chicago drill music scene remains a vibrant and influential force in the music industry. The legacy of artists like Lil Jeff, King Von, FBG Duck, and Lil Jojo lives on through their music, which continues to resonate with audiences around the world. Thanks for watching. Check out more cards on the screen.